Mary J. Blige should also be charged. Should I keep going? Jay-Z should be charged. Khaled should be charged. Rick Ross should be charged. Usher should be charged and tried with him. Or for Justin Bieber alone.
Something else that the jurors saw today that sort of connects it back to this alleged criminal enterprise are 7 photos of people that were very close to Sean Combs, one even his former chief of staff. And these were all people that Cassie Ventura was able to name and explain the functions in terms of what they did: security, driver, chief of staff, someone that handled financials. So it's showing that she knew some of these people, again, because she was with him, around him for so long.
Jaguar Wright recently spoke out about a list of celebrities who allegedly left the United States following Cassie Ventura's testimony against Sean Diddy Combs, which became public. In her candid style, Wright shared details that have since gone viral across social media and entertainment news platforms as the Diddy trial unfolds.
The Diddy trial is opening up. People keep making this all about Diddy rather than looking at everything that's happening around it.
Rapper Tory Lanez, who's currently serving a decade in prison behind bars.
There's a lot of people that want to protect the Diddy agenda because it serves them, because allegedly they're all accomplices.
You got Ashton Kutcher in love with Mila Kunis on that 70s show. Then they break up for absolutely no reason after he starts hanging out with Diddy. Then he marries Demi Moore, who drained him of all the adrenochrome she can, and apparently he replenished himself in inappropriate things with her daughter.
While many are focusing solely on Diddy, Wright emphasized the broader implications of the case and the various people involved. Among those mentioned is rapper Tory Lanez, who is currently serving a decade in prison. Wright suggested that numerous individuals are eager to protect the Diddy agenda because it serves their interests, implying that they may be complicit in various activities.
First time you heard me say that Sean Combs was trafficker, you said I was a liar because I was jealous, because I wasn't his girlfriend, because I wasn't successful in the music industry, because I didn't have a hit record, because I didn't live in a mansion, because I didn't have diamonds. You said all of these things about me because I told the truth. Because you disgrace my name, my legacy, my family. You stalked me, hunted me. You harassed my friends. You put pressure on my personal relationships to the point where I had to completely disassociate myself from the whole life just so I could carry the burden of the truth.
She pointed to Ashton Kutcher, who was romantically linked to Mila Kunis on That 70s Show. According to Wright, their breakup coincided with Kutcher's association with Diddy, and she alleged that he later married Demi Moore, who drained him of his vitality, suggesting that he replenished himself through inappropriate actions involving their daughters. Wright recounted how Cassie described years of mistreatment and alleged criminal misconduct by Combs, leading some high-profile figures to leave the country, even if only temporarily.
I was thinking to myself the other day, Uptown Records started with 5 people. Andre Harrell, I'll Be Sure, Heavy D, and Puffy. And Kim was the longest working employee because she was there from the very beginning. She was Andre's personal assistant. Kim's dead. Heavy D is dead. Andre Harrell is dead. The only 2 left are Puffy and Al almost died. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Heavy D was found dead, face down in the heart attack. Andre Harrell, heart attack. Kim died from pneumonia, but there's the first coroner's report that said that she died. It was ruled a homicide, and they found toxins in her body to prove that she had been poisoned. You know, they have poisons that create heart attack and pneumonia-like symptoms. And Then right after that, Al had a meeting, and I was going to meet up with him because we were in Vegas, and then the next thing you know... You want to know what they all had in common, though? The survivors and the late of Uptown Records, they were all writing tell-all books. Mm-hmm. Andre was writing a book right before he died. Heavy D was working on a book before he died. Kim Porter was working on a book before she died. And Al B. Sure was working on the documentary of his life. And then he goes into a coma. Has Puffy ever been in a coma? Has anything happened to him? He must be the luckiest because it seems like everybody that worked at Uptown Records from the very beginning is gone.
They were reportedly concerned that their names might be implicated in the trial. Wright expressed her frustration at being dismissed when she previously claimed that Sean Combs was involved in trafficking, stating that people accused her of lying out of jealousy or resentment for not being part of his inner circle. She opened her remarks by praising Cassie's bravery, detailing how from May 13th to May 16th, Cassie provided extensive testimony about years of intimate acts, controlled by Combs, as well as physical violence and coercion.
What did you know back then, 3-4 years ago?
Cassie was gonna come forward.
So what did you? How did you know? What did you know about what Cat? Because
I
to
wish
hear
I could explain.
Yeah,
but if I explain how I knew Cassie was gonna come forward, that could hurt some people. I don't spend time around Cassie, and I haven't seen Cassie in person since she was with Ryan Leslie.
Was there something in her eyes that you saw? The way, like now
I'll
that
put it to you this way: there are mutual acquaintances between her and I, and that's as far as I can.
The trial garnered significant attention, not only due to the serious charges of trafficking, racketeering, and transportation for prostitution, but also because many well-known names surfaced during jury selection and witness accounts. Wright reflected on the origins of Uptown Records, which began with 5 key figures: Andre Harrell, Al B. Sure, Heavy D, Puffy, Diddy, and Kim Porter, who was Andre's personal assistant. She noted that all but 2 of them, Diddy and Al, are now deceased, raising questions about the circumstances surrounding their deaths.
I can't wait for everybody to find out what's really been going on in the background.
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing different. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane. Move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who is a victim of Sean Carter.
yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who is a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah.
Amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar
gone. They know what happened.
Wright pointed out that Heavy D died of a heart attack. Andre Harrell also succumbed to a heart attack. And Kim Porter died from pneumonia, which was later ruled a homicide due to toxins found in her body. She suggested that these toxins could mimic symptoms of heart attacks and pneumonia, hinting at foul play. Wright highlighted a disturbing pattern. All the deceased figures were reportedly working on tell-all books or documentaries before their untimely deaths. She mentioned that Andre was writing a book, Heavy D was working on one, and Kim was also preparing to share her story.
Uptown Records started with 5 people. Andre Harrell, I'll Be Sure, Heavy D, and Puffy. And Kim, she was Andre's personal assistant. Kim is dead. Heavy D is dead. Andre Harrell is dead. The only 2 left are Puffy and Al almost died. Isn't that interesting? You want to know what they all had in common, though? They were all writing tell-all books. And I'll Be Sure was working on the documentary of his life. And then he goes into a coma. Has Puffy ever been in a coma? Has anything happened to him? It's too many coincidences. Fuck you, Honeycomb. We gonna get you and your little dog, too. Run as fast as Cassie did.
Al B. Sure was involved in a documentary about his life before falling into a coma. Wright questioned why Diddy has seemingly escaped such fates, suggesting he might be the luckiest among them. The first celebrity Wright mentioned was Jay-Z, the successful rapper and businessman who has collaborated with Combs in the past. She claimed that Jay-Z booked a private flight to Europe just days after Cassie's testimony became public, indicating his unease about being associated with Combs.
Like I said last year, after the Cassie Diddy case was made public for the world to see on CNN.
If Kim Porter hadn't done what she done, there would be no Cassie to testify.
You know, Mr. Combs, SC and SC, thing 1 and thing 2. They've been covering each other's ass a long time, guys. Y'all don't see what's going on? The death of Angie Stone, Clive Davis, Diddy, Rock Nation on the verge of utter collapse. What happened to Tory? Find a way to blame it on him.
Although Jay-Z faced no charges, Wright argued that his swift departure demonstrated that other celebrities were also preparing to distance themselves from the unfolding scandal. Wright then discussed Pharrell Williams, a well-known producer and artist who has also worked with Combs.
Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through our culture and our society for decades.
She claimed that Pharrell followed Jay-Z's lead and flew to Milan for a fashion event shortly after Cassie's statements went public. While Pharrell insisted that the trip was planned in advance, Wright believed the timing was too coincidental to ignore. Continuing her commentary, Wright mentioned Scooter Braun, a prominent music executive known for managing major R&B and pop stars. She stated that within a day of Cassie's testimony being released, Scooter moved his family to Canada, citing family reasons.
You fucking right, I go to Diddy parties, which is where people like me step in. To walk mother out! Cause ain't nobody stopping me when I come. Why would they talk about it? Who is there to go to? Who's gonna help them? What HR department do you know of that works for any of these labels?
Yeah.
When have you ever heard of a sexual harassment suit being publicly acknowledged in the entertainment industry at all? Never. Not in entertainment.
Tupac. Remember that one? That was.
He was the only one.
Yeah.
You saw how that turned out.
Yeah. That was.
No, guilty.
That's why they do it.
to make you an example, to remind you what they're willing to do to keep things the way they want them. It's intimidation. Can't go to the authorities. They're all bought and paid for. You could try to get a special prosecutor, but they'll just pay somebody to reassign him to another case.
However, Wright insisted that those close to him were whispering about his fear of being called to testify or having to share information related to the case. Wright criticised the mainstream media for quickly labelling these trips as vacations or work obligations, urging viewers to pay attention to boarding passes, social media posts, and quick Instagram stories as evidence of a coordinated effort to avoid negative press.
It's been alleged that some of our favorite celebrities like Doja Cat, Beyonce, Lady Gaga, 2 Chainz are all caught up or have been caught on camera allegedly under the influence. And that a few celebrities have died. They're saying that Brittany Murphy died from...
It's been more than a few.
Before we get there, do you feel like Diddy's defense is going to have a strong opening statement? Just
no.
In regards to...
They couldn't even get a postponement. If they were begging for a 2-month postponement, and then when they said no, they said, well, 2 weeks. It's because they don't have a strong opening statement. They have no statement at all.
She argued that these celebrities were leaving the country first and crafting their narratives later. Wright also pointed out that many celebrities, including Beyonce, Lady Gaga, and 2 Chainz, have been caught on camera allegedly under the influence, and she mentioned the tragic deaths of several celebrities, including Brittany Murphy.
You want to know what's going to happen next? No more filter. From this point forward, any word that I say, I ain't holding back. And I ain't saying alleged either. Y'all said I was lying the first time. Now it turns out I'm telling the truth. You still don't want to admit that I was right, but you don't want to admit that you was wrong. I'ma just keep ruining your lives with the truth.
And here we go.
Shout out to Cat Williams. Yeah. Shout out to Lunell Campbell.
Let's go.
Shout out to Kanye Ye West. Shout out to my very good friend, Fred Hampton Jr., the chairman of the board for the Black Panther Party. Free them all. Power to the people.
She expressed skepticism about the entertainment industry's willingness to acknowledge sexual harassment suits, citing Tupac as a rare example. As the trial progressed, Wright noted that by the time Cassie's full testimony was recorded, Kim Kardashian was already far from the media spotlight.
Sean Carter is just as bad as the diddler. And I know that for a fact. I got the scars to prove it. Want to know what a box cutter feels like going into your skin and ripping you? I can tell you how it feels. Y'all ain't seen shit yet. That Cassie shit, that's nothing.
So are you trying to say like Jay-Z put hands on you?
I'm saying Sean Carter remembers everything he did to me and he's got it on tape. Just like Diddy. It's gonna be the women that give him in the end.
Wright highlighted the case of Shah Holly, a lawyer known for representing celebrities in high-profile cases, who reportedly moved her family out of the country shortly after Cassie's testimony. Although Holly claimed her departure was for tax and estate planning reasons, Wright suggested that Holly's ties to Combs's legal team made her nervous about being too close to such a high-profile case.
None of this makes sense. What really does make sense is that Diddy has had a long career of using to trap niggas into making them do what he wants to do or using them to move them out the way. How is Faith Evans any different than Lauren London? How? No difference at all.
The Jaguar Wright show. Here we are.
Okay, oh, you got this your security too? Oh wow, Jaguar came with security too.
Nice to meet you. You know, this first and foremost, I mean, this is, you know, the version of fire.
Paramount. There needs to be someone here who's been here all along. I've been waiting for this moment for 5 years, and here we are. And I'm praying that everyone remembers there are survivors, real life survivors. And I hope that everyone takes into account how necessary a true verdict, a just verdict now.
Wright concluded her remarks by asserting that the real issue at hand is not guilt, but fear. Many individuals want to avoid being dragged into the headlines, even if they have done nothing wrong. One of Wright's most intense moments came when she named Chad Ocho Cinco Johnson, the former NFL player who was mentioned in Cassie's testimony, as someone Combs had asked to pick her up from a film set. Wright noted that Johnson boarded a flight to Dubai immediately after Cassie's testimony became public. In her direct and unfiltered manner, Wright emphasized that the truth will ultimately prevail, and she is determined to expose the realities behind the scenes. She called for accountability and justice, urging everyone to remember that there are real-life survivors whose stories deserve to be heard. As the trial continues, the implications of Cassie's testimony and the reactions of those in the industry will undoubtedly shape the narrative surrounding Diddy and the broader entertainment landscape.